Hello, and welcome to your Saturn series. It is my honor to be coming to you guys today to talk to you about the planet Saturn in astrology. And what do you know? Here Saturn is right here. Oh, shoot. Hello, Saturn. So, yes, we have a hieroglyph. I don't know really what we would call this, but my little planet Saturn is with us here. So of course, I'm gonna have a little intro video in the beginning of all these. Let's make sure I'm, Saturn material. And let me tell you, before these videos, woo, I can feel the Saturn energy. Like, I guess we'll just get talking about it, guys. So, well, just a little fun fact. I am actually, I would say, a pretty important advocate of Saturn because I have a Capricorn rising, so that makes me very Saturnian ruled. And also, I'm just going to mute my computer so we don't have any distractions. And I have Saturn on my sun. So in astrology, sometimes we will have planets conjunct certain signs, right? And so for me, I was just lucky enough to be born with my sun in Pisces at 14 degrees. And what do you know? Saturn at 14 degrees Pisces as well. So I just couldn't let Saturn change signs without me talking about how just fabulous he is, right, guys? So this is some channeled messages. I'm just going to be channeling today. I have some notes here, though. I do have some notes just so everything can stay structured and timely and things like that. So let's get into a little bit about what Saturn represents and stands for in astrology, and then we can get into what Saturn's most recent shift into Capricorn is going to be affecting you personally by your sign, your astrology sign. So Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn, right? Capricorn is the 10th house in astrology. So that has everything to do with our career, our legacies, our long distance goals. So I would say when it comes to career and when it comes to our long distance goals and when it comes to our legacies, that's a very serious, part of the chart. The 10th house is also our midheaven. So our midheaven in astrology is symbolic for, well, our career, of course, but more so the direction in life that we need to go. Okay, so it's interesting to compare the midheaven to the north node because the midheaven is kind of like a mini north node in our astrology charts. And according to the midheaven, you can determine what your astrological boss is because the 10th house is the house of bosses and authority figures. So when we talk about the 10th house, you guys, we're also talking about Saturn. We're also talking about Capricorn. These energies all go together. They all bounce from each other, So when we think of Capricorn and we think of the mountain goat and the sea goat and how ambitious these signs are, Capricorn is actually one of the most misunderstood zodiac signs. They're very, very mysterious. Very, very mysterious. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that they're ruled by such an interesting planet. And it's not only interesting, it's just everybody wants to avoid Saturn. Like, it's not nothing to play around with. Saturn gets a bad rep. So I'm gonna be honest with you guys in these videos. And this is just my opinion. There's a lot of different, oh yeah, I got my little Saturn necklace, you guys, if anybody just saw that. I wanted to really make this symbolic for us here today. So, as I was saying, I'm going to do my best to interpret Saturn. And, since I have Saturn on my sun and since I have a Capricorn rising, I'm very, very Saturnian ruled, and I'm going to do my best to explain the good, explain the bad, explain the pretty, the ugly, and everything in between. So, Saturn. We haven't even talked about the fact that Saturn is the lord of karma. Okay, so Saturn, when I think of Saturn, I think about karma. And it's interesting that Saturn has these rings, right, that go around it because what goes around comes around, right? And that is a famous saying that is related to karma. So, it's basically you reap what you sow, you know what I mean? And I'm a very, very advocate for that. I very much believe in that people, get what they deserve, whether it be good or bad. So yes, Lord of Karma, Saturn is, I like to think of Saturn as a military dad. So, and not just a military dad, but a very serious father figure, right? Saturn is a very serious planet. Everything has to be serious. Everything has to be constricted. So serious that I'm gonna put this incense out after I let you guys have a little bit of the energy, I guess. But yeah, anything like that. Like, for instance, when I first started to sit down to record these videos, my computer was updating. And I hate when my computer does that because it takes so long and I'm just on a time limit today. So I just sat here for, oh my God, it took so long for my computer to update. And it was so funny to me because I'm like, Saturn, what you doing, man? What are you doing? Like, I'm trying to record your videos, So, yeah, I felt that was kind of, I think everything's a sign. So that was just kind of funny, to go through that. So, yes, very serious planet that rules restrictions. Saturn is all about limitations. Okay, these are the more harsher terms. Saturn is about rules, regulations, doing everything in a timely manner, right? Saturn, it's like amazing. Like, and if you think of Saturn, and then Capricorns are Saturnian ruled people. So, the Capricorns I know, very hardworking. I'm like, how did you clean your house, go to work, pick up your dog, mow the lawn, solve world hunger, and you look fabulous? Like, how do you do that? So, shout out to the Capricorns watching. It's your energy. And, I'm a Capricorn rising, so my spirit is Capricorn, and I come off like a Capricorn, but I'm a Pisces. So, that's just an energy there. But Capricorn sun signs, they work really hard, very ambitious people, all about their goals, and actually they're a lot about respect as well, right? So when you think of Saturn as well, you have to think of respect and authority, So when it comes to authority figures, which is anybody in a uniform, the military, police officers, anything like that, that would be a Saturnian ruled figure. And I think of Saturn as a military dad, to the point where you could clean your room spick and span, and Saturn will wipe his finger on the desk and see just a little bit of dirt. I actually do have dirt on my desk, so sorry, Saturn, but he'll be like, you do it again. It wasn't right. You did it 30 seconds later than I wanted. That's not right. Now, let's get in a little bit before my intro ends here. I wanted to end it on a more positive note, because Saturn, when you think of, and I know there's some of you watching who actually did grow up, some of us had authoritarian parents. I had an Aquarius mom, and that's so ironic because Aquarius is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn also rules Capricorn. So I guess, guys, when we're talking about these videos, or when we're listening to this video, when we're hearing these messages today, we want to think about Aquarius and Capricorn, right? So it's interesting that Saturn is most at home in the 10th house, legacy, career, long-term goals, and also in the 11th house, which is groups of people, right? There is karma involved in groups of people, our community, our humanitarian, what we do to serve our community and the groups of people we associate with. So there is karma involved in that as well. So as I was saying, some of you who are watching, you may have grown up with an authoritarian parent. And this doesn't have to be a Capricorn or Aquarius. This could be any parent, because we all have different energy, right? This could be any parent that was just really strict. So I think strict is a good word to call Saturn. So I'm going to put that here just so I can remember that. Strict. Saturn is really strict. And okay, we're going to get into the more positive here, because where I was going with that is that, at the time when all these people are hard on us and, oh, clean it twice and don't do this and don't do that and don't do this, at the time it fucking sucks. We grow to hate these people. Saturn is a pretty hated planet, unfortunately. But throughout life, we find ourselves oddly thanking these people, right? And we hate it. We hate to admit that. But it's the people who showed us structure, the people who showed us limitations and responsibility and hard work ethic. It's like going to the military when you're talking about Saturn. And it's because Saturn symbolizes, and Saturn is aware of what you do now is going to come back around to you. So if you put in the hard work now, if you're responsible now, if you work hard now, whatever you do now, it's important because it's your then. Your now is your then. Your now is your later. And that's a very Saturnian energy. So it's important, you know, that we have these energies, because a lot of planets, you know, and I have to say it, Neptune is one of those planets that don't really have this kind of energy. Neptune's like, chill. It'll happen when it happens, you know? Like, just do it whatever you want. It's okay that you were an hour late. It was meant to be. You know, like water signs and water planets are, I would say, they lack boundaries. Okay, I love water. I'm a water sign. I love water. I'm all about water. But water takes the shape of its container, right? Water takes the shape of its container. And that's my little water spell that I did for the Cancer moon there. But yeah, you know, if you pour water into a square container, the water is going to look square, right? Water is also reflecting. So, you know, that's a whole different story there. That's my little joke there to tell you that there's some planets that every planet, here's how I'll say this. Every planet has its duty. Every planet has its job and its position and everything like that. It has what it stands for. Every planet is symbolic for something, right? Neptune, the dream world, fantasy, illusion sometimes, you know. Well, Saturn is actually the opposite of what you would think when you think Jupiter. And that's interesting because Jupiter rules Sagittarius, and Sagittarius comes right before Capricorn. So Jupiter, and even the symbols, I'm not sure if you guys will be able to see the symbol it's kind of dark, so I won't show it there. But you know, just go ahead and look up the Saturn symbol, and then you can look at the Jupiter symbol, and they're kind of inverted, you know, like it's to show you how opposite these signs are. So Jupiter is basically the opposite of the planet Saturn. Jupiter is all about expanding. It's all about making, you know, it's the biggest planet in our solar system. So it's about expansion. It's about the higher knowledge of things, the deeper meaning, broadening your intellect and your philosophy, your teaching, learning, all that kind of stuff right there. And I'm talking about that because Saturn just got out of Sagittarius. So, you know, Saturn being in Sagittarius, that was a very oxymoron. That was a really push and pull energy because, well, I think Saturn, you know, I can channel Saturn, and I feel like Saturn for the past 3 years actually took a break. Like, deuces, you guys can handle your own karma. I'm going in Sagittarius where I'm going to party and put my feet up. But when I come back in 2008, if you didn't do the things that I taught you, Saturn in Scorpio, if you didn't do the things I taught you, Saturn in Libra, boy, am I going to come down hard on you. And Saturn in Capricorn, this is home, okay? Saturn is home. He's in Capricorn. And I mean, and you know, it's interesting because in 3 years, when Saturn moves into Aquarius, Saturn is home. I would say Saturn is more home in Capricorn. This grounded, quick, on its feet energy. Capricorns, they don't care. They don't have, like, I'm not saying Capricorns don't feel, but they don't feel as much as a water sign does. Because let me tell you, sometimes if I don't feel good enough to do something, my Capricorn rising completely gets thrown to the side. It's like, I don't feel like it. The energy today is just a little bit rough. You know, like, I don't really feel like it. And then that's my emotions. I make emotional decisions. Now, Saturn is at home in the sign of Capricorn and Aquarius because those signs get shit done. They're responsible. You know, Aquarius they're very futuristic thinking signs. So Saturn's all about your long-term goals. So it likes Aquarius. You know, Aquarius thinks about the future. Aquarius is the star card where you're pouring from this end and you're pouring from that end. You know, and it's interesting that Capricorn is the devil card, you know. So that's a whole different story. I might have to do an entirely different video. Actually, I am doing kind of I'm going to be talking about the devil card and the real meaning of the devil card before Capricorn season ends. I'm going to do that a little bit towards the end of Capricorn season. That way I have a lot of energy to work with. But yeah, guys, Saturn. Okay, this is my intro video, trying to make it as structured as I can, but at the same time, I'm a Pisces, Taurus, Capricorn mix. So, you know, this is just me being real. So I hope you're learning, and yeah, I think you'll learn more in the videos that are about your personal sign. So restrictions, limitations, boundaries. Well, but I would say boundaries is more of the positive side, right? That's why I went into that detail about water taking the shape of its glass, because water can lack boundaries sometimes. Water actually needs a foundation to have a shape, right? Water shapes us in astrology. So, you know, the good part about Saturn is that it teaches us self-control. It teaches us boundaries and limits and structure. You know, we do need those things in life, guys. So I'm glad that we have an energy in the universe that is an asshole enough to do that without caring about how we feel, right? Because sometimes we just have to get things done. This is our karma we're talking about here. When we're done with this realm, you know, we carry that with us. So Saturn is actually an energy that stays with us. Like, what do you think about this come around, go around thing? I love cycles. So Saturn works in a cycle, and it's a cycle that you create before, during, and after life. So Saturn's an energy. I feel like Saturn might be the first energy that you see when you pass on. Like, what'd you do? What'd you do with your life on Earth, huh? Did you do this? Did you do that? How long did it take you? Oh, well, you know that you're gonna have, like, the reason Saturn is so serious is because he knows that whatever you did, you will face again. So you want to just be woke. You wanna pay attention to the things that are going on around this time. You know, the karma that you're producing and designing for yourself, because we're all responsible for our own karma. And then we can get into the whole story about how you can actually affect other people's karma, which is, ooh, the karma for that is a beast. So Saturn is a very, very, very interesting energy, and I'm honored to talk to you guys today about what Saturn is going to be doing. So responsibilities, commitments, authority figures, teachers. It's a masculine energy, so Saturn actually rules our fathers. Saturn is discipline, and we talked about Saturn being rules and regulation. So that is all the hard facts about Saturn. I really just kind of want to, I have notes as well for the videos that I'll be doing for your guys' personal signs. I do want to channel a bit more though. I don't really like this structured energy, you know. It makes me feel like, okay, let's check that off, when really I just do better when I flow. Okay, so just hang in there with me, guys. You're gonna feel the Saturnian energy in me a little bit, but you're also gonna see it in that creative Pisces way, and then I'm gonna ground everything with my Taurus moon. Okay, so this is my Saturn series. My intro video is way longer than what I wanted it to be. Sorry, Saturn. All right, so just learn through me that Saturn low-key secretly understands that nothing's perfect, right? Perfection is Virgo, right? Capricorn is the cardinal earth sign. Perfection is Virgo. So Capricorn secretly knows that things can't always be perfect, guys. Okay, it's just about doing your best. Okay, it's about doing your absolute best. Work hard, play hard, things like that. The balance between work and play. It's about it's about taking yourself seriously. Okay, that's what this energy is about. So as long as you do that, and if you don't fall into that, oh, I'm not good enough, I didn't do that good enough, trust me, I'm already doing it. You know, it is what it is. You know, I need the material first. So keep this in mind, guys, that when you're doing a project or when you're doing anything that needs structure or boundaries or things like that, get it there first. Do it first, and then let Saturn come in and teach you, oh, well, this was too long. You talked too long about this, that. Saturn will let you know everything that is not up to par. Okay? So let's get into your personal readings, and we will see what Saturn is doing in your astrology sign. All right, guys, I'll see you in the other videos. See ya. Hi, Aries. What's up, guys? All right. So if you're watching this video, this is about Aries and Saturn in Capricorn. So as you may know from my intro video, on the 19th of December, Saturn made a shift into the sign of Capricorn. For the last 3.5 years, well, since 2015, I want to say, Saturn has been in Sagittarius. So Saturn was in your area of beliefs and higher knowledge, and also faith and philosophy. So, Aries, for the last 3 years, did you know that Saturn was actually restricting and limiting your beliefs and your higher knowledge? So, some of you, if you that could manifest in religion. Some of you, you may have felt like, man, I believe in this, and I just don't know what it means though. And now all of a sudden you're those energies are starting to come to you. Like maybe some of you, the religion aspect, you're really diving into that now, whereas before, the years before, you really felt like you couldn't. Also, if any of you were attending college or any type of school to an attempt to further your knowledge, this could also be something that Saturn was restricting, and what I mean by that is no matter what you did, it could have just been hard, like, oh man, I just didn't get all A's. I just didn't. So you could have been really hard on yourself in the areas of your beliefs, higher knowledge, or religion, anything like that. But in this video, we're going to talk more about the effects of Saturn now, okay? Because he's left your 9th house alone. And it's really interesting, Aries. I love doing your guys' videos because you are the universe in a way. And what I mean by that is that the universe, this zodiac wheel back here, the first house of the universe is Aries, right? And that just so happens to be your first house. So Saturn is in the 10th house of Capricorn. And when I do your video, I can talk about that in a way that Saturn is in your 10th house as well. So needless to say, your 10th house is Capricorn, just like the zodiac wheel. And that is very interesting to me because Saturn is really comfortable here. So I'm not going to say that you guys might experience Saturn energy easier for the next few years, but I believe Saturn does well in the house that it's most comfortable in. So it does well in the 10th and the 11th house. And the fact that Saturn is in Capricorn, I think all of us will be experiencing Saturn harsher because, he's at home. He has home front. So he might be a little bit more harsh than he was in Sagittarius when he was just more so chilling and partying and fighting Sagittarius about restriction and limitation, restriction and limitation. So yeah, guys, Saturn is in your 10th house now of Capricorn. And that is the house of career. That's the house of legacy, long-term goals. It's also the midheaven, you guys. So I did want to mention to you that you have Saturn in the area of your life where it's kind of like your goals in life. Our midheaven is kind of it's our career, but it's also, so what is a career? A career is kind of like a job on steroids, right? Jobs are just kind of not as serious, but our career is something that we're doing in our life. So whatever it is that, don't just limit this to a job. Whatever it is, like your legacy, there we go. Legacy is a prettier word than career. But we also have career legacies, right? So very serious energy there. And this is what's coming to play. This is what's coming in for you guys for the next 3 years. This, this karmic, so I would say anything that you guys do, career related, legacy related, which this is very broad. A legacy could be having a kid or changing a job or moving countries. So, it's going to be up to you guys. But this is just to help you prepare a little bit for the next 3 years and what Saturn may be doing, because this is the symbolic for our karma. Our karma is controlled by Saturn, right? So when it comes to karma, it can either create boundaries for us, which is important, or it could restrict us, right? So we talked about how Saturn is very comfortable in the 10th house of Capricorn. And I believe anything that you do, like it's your karmic path to and this is beautiful, you guys. This means karma. And karma's not only a bad thing. It could be good, it can be bad, it depends, but it's returning to you because you created the energy. So I believe you guys are going to be really called to be who you're meant to be in this world, your legacy, the legend of you, Aries. The legend of who you are, that is going to come out more. So you guys could be changing in more ways than I can discuss in this video. You really could. And this is lifelong goals. So it's interesting for Saturn to be kind of temporarily being in that area for you, in an area that's so elongated, right? So interesting energy there that could play out in a lot of ways. I love that this is your midheaven because this is the path of life that you will follow. Career, right? But I feel like the path of life is a lot more than just a career. It's what you do. It's everything that you are, it's your legacy. And it's also how you appear to the people around you, which I thought was interesting about the midheaven, because this is almost like your rising sign. So any Aries watching, sun, moon, or rising, that you want to look at your rising sign, because that's how you appear to others as well. And your midheaven is how you appear to other people. So this is about how to live in what you know. Okay, so it's taking what you know and how you live and making it real. That's what Saturn is going to help you with for the next 3 years. And it might take a lot of cutting out. It might, if you lose any relationships, if you lose any jobs, money situations, finances, anything that has to do with authority figures, any new authority figures that come in your life or leave your life, just know that it's karmic. And what I mean by karmic is that it was supposed to happen. This was destined to happen. Karma is like destiny. It was destined to happen. It's in your fate. So this fate and karmic and all this supposed to happen energy, it has everything to do with mentors in your life, authority figures, bosses, so if any of you are authority figures, excuse me, so if you're a police officer watching this, or if you're like a teacher or a mentor or in the military, this is going to apply to you very much so, because the 10th house is everything to do with that. It's your social status. It's your status quo in the world, right? So that is a very big area for Saturn to be in. And it's very comfortable in this area. So, you might have a lot of authority figures rising up in your life the next 3 years, but just keep in mind, Aries, this is why I'm doing these videos, because if you didn't hear these messages, you might freak out on somebody like, what the hell are you doing? You might still, because you're Aries, and, you guys are the Emperor card in tarot, so, I don't think you guys mind being told what to do, but Aries are more, you guys are so strong and so independent and headstrong that you usually wind up being those authority figures. Like if you look up the Emperor card, the Aries card, it's a symbol of authority. Okay, so there could be some power struggles there, but just remember what Pisces Priestess is telling you in this video, that this is karmic. So you could learn something from these authority figures. You can learn something from this new career path, or this new path of legacy, this lifelong path, that you're going to follow. You could learn from that because it's in your karma. And I don't know about you, but my karma is very important to me. I came here with it. I'm going to leave with it. So it's important to learn from it and to embrace it, right? Because I feel like our higher selves, the part of us that's still spirit and still in the universe, right? Because we're not all here. This is just our physical body, soul, mind, and body and soul, but we have our energy, right? And I believe that we wrote our lives before this, and that we actually signed up for this karma. So, you could be experiencing that, but if you just think about it in a way that you signed up for this, I signed up for this. So this is going to teach me something. This is meant to be. This is important, right? This is fate. So keep in mind those authority figures and your bosses. I don't know if it might get a little bit, rougher or more Saturn, serious energy around your job and things like that. So we got to keep in mind, though, that Saturn can either restrict things or make it karmic. It can limit things. So you could also be experiencing limits within the career. You might not be completely sure of your legacy for the next 3 years, and that's okay, because when you're not sure of something, you have time to create it. So don't worry too much, Aries. If you're, Saturn energy can make you feel like you have something to do when really you're just supposed to be working hard towards something that is not indefinite yet. So some of you may want a career, some of you could be in those stages in life where it's really important that you find a career. Legacy has a lot to do with your children. Our children are our legacies. It's what we leave behind, right? Interesting. So we want to take care of them. We want to make sure that they have everything that they need. This could cause financial troubles, right? This is the 10th house. And this is family. So that could be limited, but just know that you're learning karmically from this, Aries, and that you can grow from this. And this is for the next 3 years. So you might not experience it in 2018. You might not experience it in 2019, but this is the energy of Saturn in the 10th house. Saturn gets really serious about career goals and legacy, lifelong goals, how you appear to the people around you, authority figures, bosses, all of that. Saturn is going to use boss figures, authority figures, so police, you know, you guys want to be very careful, because what you do when it comes to people of authority now, you know, and I don't know if there's going to be a battle there, but when before, okay, so in 2017, you could have cussed a cop out. Like, what the fuck are you pulling me over for, douche? I didn't do anything wrong, you know? Well, you could have got away with that because Saturn wasn't in your 10th house. But now that Saturn's in your 10th house, your karma is pretty much symbolized by authority figures. So, you know, you do something, I don't want to scare you guys, but I'm just telling you so that you can be careful. You do something wrong, Saturn's going to give you your karma by, you know, basically influencing you with authority figures. So you might be really mean to someone, or steal, cheat, or lie, and then boom, you know, like you get pulled over the next day and your life's a downward spiral. So just be careful here, all right? And, you know, just to lighten the mood a little bit, Aries, this is just me channeling the ways that it could play out for all of you. You know, karma is a bitch. But also, it could be in your karmic path or your karmic legacy to be an authority figure. So some of you may start the process of becoming a military person, sergeant, you know, officer, things like that, police officers, even firefighters to a certain extent. So, you know, it may not be that. It may not play out that way for all of you. For some of you, it could play out in a way that you, especially if you work in the government. If you work in a government job or something like that, or a job that works with authority, even security officers, that is still, you know, like authority and things like that. Mall cops, you know, the authority plays itself out a lot, Aries. And so it could be in your karmic path to create boundaries within you and in these authority figures, or, you know, to certain restrictions and limitations and things like that. But for some of you, I am really hearing that you're going to start your career path, and maybe some of you didn't think about that before, but all of a sudden it's 2018 and you're like, you know, I want to be a cop. You know, I want to be a cop, or, you know, I want to be a teacher. I want to be a mentor, you know. So, you know, it could be in your karmic path to do that. And others of you could experience, you know, limitations. It's very important to create boundaries between you and the authority figures in life. Also, your social status. So, you know, Aries, social status, how you appear socially to other people around you, or how your status socially, I guess, that is also karma. Karma will be taking effect there. So that could play out in a lot of different ways. How you appear to the people around you, which is also your social status, that could be karmic. So how your essence, you may seem, what I'm hearing is that you may seem even more so like an authority figure. Because remember, Aries, you are the emperor. So you already know about authority. You already know about these things. And it could very much well be, you know, you coming off more authoritarian to people. So if people, for the next 3 years, if people are like, God, Aries, why are you doing this? Like, why are you so like a control freak right now? And you could just be like, oh, it's not me. I'm just coming off that way because Saturn's in my 10th house, and because authority is really important to me right now. Self-boundaries is really important to me right now. Saturn is really going to want you to pick that up, Aries. So if you've been soft for the past 3 years, letting people get away with certain things, letting certain things slide under the rug, Saturn is going to come down hard on you and make you be, you know, I think Saturn's going to have fun with you guys, and kind of intertwine the authority. You are a cardinal sign, right? So Saturn is comfortable in that cardinal energy, and also comfortable in fixed energy. So with you being a cardinal sign, Saturn is really going to mix well with you. And as long as you listen to these things, as long as you do your research, if this video didn't help you, then just research Saturn in Capricorn, or research Saturn in the 10th house. It's not so much Saturn in Capricorn, it's Saturn in your 10th house. Okay, that's very unique to Aries right now, and anybody who has an Aries midheaven. If you have an Aries midheaven, then, you know, then this could apply to you, because this is, I literally, to find my notes for this video, I literally researched Saturn in the 10th house and Saturn in Capricorn. So that's what I did, guys, and this is kind of my channeled information here, and I'm just gonna look, because there's always more to say, and I'd love to talk to you guys more about this, but I didn't want these videos to be super long because it takes longer for them to upload, and you know, it's already January, and I want these things to get out here. I'll get out these messages, and this is just kind of an extra video, one of my first videos that I'm doing without tarot. Usually I just do tarot, but there's no tarot part to this reading. It's very serious Saturn talk. So, you know, you just want to keep in mind that this is the Lord of Karma. This is about, in any of the things that I mentioned today, Saturn can either create boundaries there or restrict them, restrict or limit. So it's interesting to explain this energy, because when it comes to your path of life, it can either be restricted. For some of you, your path of life can be restricted. So when you were restricted to a certain area, what I just heard in my mind is that some of you are going to be held in a certain area for the next 3 years because it's karmic to your life path. I don't like being stuck. I don't like being told I can't move. And that's what it's going to feel like, Aries, some of you. But just know that if you feel that stuck energy for the next 3 years, if you feel like, gosh, like, why am I here? Why can't I move from this house? Why can't I leave this relationship? Well, it's because it's a part of your path of life. This is a very broad area for Saturn to be in, because your path of life, this is different. I have more than 600 followers now. So all of you are, I would assume that you would all be on a different path of life. But just take the information, apply your own intuition, and know that your path of life, the career path that you follow, is karmic now. So wherever you are career-wise, wherever you are legacy-wise, your legendary attributes, that is where Saturn is going to be focusing on the most with you. Okay? So you want to take those things a little bit more seriously. All right? And you want to focus on your lifelong goals. And I was going to say your long-term goals, which has everything to do with your legacy, right? And, you know, it's not so much about how you appear to people now, it's how you want to appear to people in your distant future, Saturn. So, remember, certain boundaries with authority figures and bosses. So for those of you who have really dick bosses, he or she, because Saturn, you know, it's a masculine energy, but it can be feminine as well. Some females can be very masculine and vice versa. So whatever, your boss, if they start getting harder on you in the next 3 years, you know, because you're Aries, you are going to come off as a more challenging person. Like, people are going to want to pick you out of the crowd and go head to head with you. Bring it on, right? I have an Aries 3rd house. Bring it on. It might happen to me, when it comes to communication. It might happen to me. So I'm going to be ready for that now that I've done this video, that people might take my energy as that I'm bossing them around when I'm talking. So you just want to be careful, especially because you are an Aries. You know, my 3rd house is just Aries. So just want to be careful about that, Aries, and make sure you're creating boundaries with people, and that you're being authority over yourself. Because when you have self-authority, you know, you can kind of control those. I know you guys can be hot-headed sometimes. You're a fire sign. Come on now. You can't disagree with me. You guys are the cardinal fire signs. So I know that when someone pisses you off, woo, like if it's on the wrong day, if you know, you guys can really clap back at some people, and you're the ram. So you can ram somebody, you know, right out of the way, which might come in handy with this Saturn energy. And for all I know, Saturn can limit you in areas, and since you're the ram, you could ram right through those limits. It's about pushing your limits. And I know Saturn might not like that I say that a lot, but it is secretly about that. It's about pushing your limits. You know, the boundaries and the limits that we put on ourselves. You know, oh, I don't know if I should do that. You know, here are my boundaries. Here are my limits. Well, the sky is the limit, okay? And, you know, when it comes to boundaries, the only boundaries you need to worry about are the boundaries that other authority figures, other people in your career and job, or anything like that, even government officials, creating those boundaries for them, right? That way that you are respected as an authority figure, and that you are protecting your own karma, right? Because that is what's most important here for you, Aries. So this is my information about Saturn in the 10th house, and I do hope that it was helpful for you. It's very interesting energy here, and just remember that it's about how to live and what you know, and it's about making those things real. And this is everything to do with your midheaven. So if I were you, I would research midheaven and astrology to find out, what the midheaven's influence is over you. If you know your birth chart, I would look at your 10th house. The 10th house and the midheaven are the same thing, guys. So I would really pay attention to what your midheaven and your 10th house is, because that would give you a more insight to how this energy is going to play out, right? Because the two are going to dance. If you don't know your 10th house, please hit Pisces Priestess up. I'll have my email and all that cool jazz below. And since these videos are shorter, and since this Saturn energy is kind of really hard on me, even though I'm Saturnian ruled, my creativity, and Saturn can be creative, but it limits that. So it's more about the hard facts and things like that. So these videos are just kind of pushing along. And I don't like that energy too much. My Pisces is like, but there was so much more creativity, but there was so much more emotion that you could have added there. I know. So you guys, comment below any questions you might have. Email me. I email people back. I'm not like Beyonce or anything like that. So I'm just a normal person. Hit me up on Facebook. Any way that's best for you to contact me, and we can talk more about this Saturnian energy for the next 3 years. I mean, we have 3 years to talk about it. So from now till 3 years from now, we can talk about these things, okay? So that was Saturn in the 10th. I do hope it was helpful, guys, and I will talk to you in your monthly videos in a few weeks. See you later.